The formula we're going to use for simple interest is going to be PTI over 100. Now in between the PT and the I is actually multiply signs, and then the P, the T and the I represent something from the information that you are going to substitute or replace it with. Now just to explain to you, the P, it's a capital letter P, and I use that for basically to remember that is the biggest amount, or they call it the principal amount. And if you look at the whole sentence, you'll see that the biggest amount or number or value that they give you is going to be the 840. This is one of the examples, or one of the sums that you got in the exercise. Okay, the next one is the T, and that is for the time that you are going to be allowed to pay back the money. Usually they will give it to you in years. And then the I, in this case, will be the interest. That will be the percentage, basically the value in front of the percentage sign that will tell you how much interest you are going to have to pay back. Okay, now to get all this information into one sum, I'm just going to replace the different values with the letters, or in place of the letters that I've got there. Now another question that you might ask is, why the 100? And if you look at the percentage sign, remember in the previous video that I sent to you, I showed you that the percentage sign actually becomes the denominator, and it changes, or not changes, but it's the, you can remember it by doing the 1 with the 2 zeros, and that is where the 100 comes in. Okay, so that is, instead of doing the percentage sign, I just put it on 100, so I'm going to divide with 100. Now to show you that example, or another example that you're going to basically see where we get the information, or what information we use to be able to complete it in the formula. So we are going to use the abbreviation simple interest equals to PTI over 100. That will always stay the same. So if you get to high school, it will also be the same formula, and this is just to calculate the interest. So we're going to use the information. In this case, they say that we bought furniture for 700 Rand. We're going to pay back simple interest of 5% over a duration of 3 years. Now just to get the information, so remember the principal amount is usually your biggest amount or your first amount. In some cases it depends on the sentence. Then your time is going to be your years, and that will be your interest. So that's the I for the interest. Okay, so we just substitute that. So we're going to say it's 700 times the T is going to be the 3 times the 5, and then everything over 100, or divided by 100. Now you are going to have to do the calculations somewhere on a paper or on the side of your paper, and then to make it easier you can say 3 times 5, and that's going to be 15, and then you take the 7 and you just multiply it with the 15, so then it's going to be 105, and that is just going to be the digits that you see. And then to finish the calculation, you're just going to add the 2 zeros that you see with the 700, so the amount here is going to be 10,500 divided by 100. So your calculation, please don't forget about the still dividing with 100. So then you can simplify it by dividing it by 100, or when you did the practicing of dividing with 100 and multiplying with 100 or 1,000 or so, then you can basically, or you can do the cancelling out, where you basically, once I cross out, but you're dividing with 100, and then the amount or the number that's left is going to be 105 Rand. So now the question is, what is this 105 Rand actually that I calculated? And that is going to be your interest. So now just to explain to you again, the interest, this is the amount on top of your 700 Rand that you are going to pay extra for being able to buy the furniture. So that's a thank you for this people, basically, to say, listen, I'm paying you extra money because I was able to buy the furniture. So this amount is only the interest, so this is the extra money you pay back above the 700 Rand that you basically already got. Okay, so now just watch out for your questions in your test, for example. So in this case, this is not where your calculation is going to stop. This is only the calculation for the interest. But now they can also go further and ask you, what is the total amount that you have to pay back? So that means if you have to calculate, I can just show you here, the total amount that you're going to pay back. That's the 700 Rand for the furniture, basically, or if it's a loan that you got from the bank, plus the 105 Rand that you still have to pay extra. So in this case, for all the furniture you got, you have to pay at the end of the 3 years, you are going to pay 805 Rand back. Okay, just to show you another example, I made a loan of 5,000 Rand and I'm paying it back against 8% simple interest over 4 years. Now we're going to use the same formula, simple interest equals to PTI. In some cases they can also replace the I with an R. It's just the same thing, just another abbreviation for that. Now again, the multiply signs, you don't have to put them there. Now you just have to find the information that they ask you here to replace it with. So the P, that was the biggest amount, or the starting amount that you got, is 5,000 times, then the time was the 4 years, and the interest rate was 8%, and everything is over the 100. And please don't forget the 100, that's also the percentage. You can do it in one there, but then the possibility is there that you can leave out some of the information that you need to calculate. I see some of your examples or some of your sums have a time frame of 1 year. You can still do the same thing, but then the 1 year is not going to have an effect basically on your answer, because anything multiplied by 1 stays the same. So you can use the same thing, just look out for the one that sometimes is being left out because it doesn't change the answer. Okay, just to make it easier for you again with this, you can just calculate the values that you see there. So the 4 times the 8 is 32, and then you multiply the 5 with that. That's going to be 160. Sorry about that. And then the 3 zeros. Okay, and then to simplify that, you can just divide by 100, those two and those two. So that is the amount you are going to be left with. So this amount again, what did you calculate here? That was the interest, and that means that's the extra money that you have to pay back for the possibility to be able to use the 5,000 that the bank gave you. Okay, and now watch out again, don't just stop your calculation there. If you need to calculate the total amount